Hey YouTube, Mochismo Eugene here. Let me cut the Bluetooth off. My apologies, I'm not going to start it over. The title of this video is 99.9% of the people in society you can't communicate with as an empath. As an empath, you can't communicate with 99.9% of the people. And the reason why that is because you as a chosen one has many complex parts to it. First of all, you have to come into an understanding and appreciation of first knowing that you are an empath. Because a lot of times myself growing up, I didn't know that I didn't know the name of this, and the name helps me understand why I do what I do and why I give people the vibes I give them, why I rub people the wrong way when I don't even open my mouth. When I come in a room, the whole momentum of the room shifts. Anybody who possesses empathy or an empath DNA or chosen one DNA, you understand full well what I'm talking about. To the average person you're trying to explain this to, no love, no conversation. This is almost like you'll get met with that Joseph mentality. You remember him in the good book when he told his brothers what God was going to do to him or for him, all the great things that he saw on the horizon. And his brothers just looking in mediocrity, looking at everything in a, if I don't see it, it ain't happening type mentality. They couldn't see what he saw. And so what this did, it caused envy, jealous, hate, and spite. A lot of different things, which are a few of those are in the 7 deadly sins. Because when you have a hate and a hostility and bitterness and a jealousy, it's a switch you can't even turn off. You can't even turn it off. If it gets so pervasive in your life, you can't turn it off. It'll eat you from the inside out, and you'll become fixated on that thing that you hate or despise. If it's a person, if it's a thing, if it's a flavor of ice cream, to what degree you put that energy in, to what degree you're going to become fixated on that hate and that hostility. So you can't communicate with most people because your verbiage, your whole dialogue, your whole just the whole algorithms of your conversation are just so different. It's out of sync with the norm, if you will, the norms of society. And right now, 2023, what is the norm? Even people with just a small amount of integrity are mind-boggled. God forbid you have just a high amount of integrity. You're fighting a seemingly losing battle because you're the only one that still tells your child that they should be in at a certain time of the night, when 8 out of 10 other parents are allowing their children to go and come as they please. Not even asking them to shut their electronics off at specific times of the day or night. At the dinner table, don't bring the electronics to the dinner table. Just practical approaches to just being family. So much isolation is going on in the world with the technological world. I use my phone a lot too, and I love the fact of technology, how I can grasp information and thereby educating myself quickly in a way we've never known before. I said this before, when you went in people's houses when I was a kid and you saw they had a whole A to Z encyclopedia set, boy, you thought they were rich. And today you can get a smartphone for, I don't know, you can get a smartphone for like $50 and $10 a month, unlimited data. And you can just get a phone, period, and with no connection, no service, and you can grab the internet. It's like a mini computer. So Back to what I'm saying, you can't communicate with a lot of people. Most of the people you run into, you can't communicate with them. Even the ones that you seemingly have a communication with, they half hear you. They don't hear you completely. They're not attuned to your whole conversation. They'll nod and go along and think you're just the best thing since sliced bread to your face. But there's a certain amount of enviousness. There's a certain amount of hesitancy in their heart to where they will give you lip service and they will nod in your presence, and they'll go right off and just form their own personal opinion of you that is totally distorted from who you really are, because they didn't really get to hear you wholeheartedly. They don't seek to get to know you wholeheartedly, because what we're living in is an exchange society. If I do this for you, you gotta do this for me. It's not like just a healthy exchange of friendships and networks and communication. It's all about the residual returns. And I'll show you how this works in society too. It's so subtle. Just got through listening to Denzel, and this is why I'm inspired to do this video of sorts. Even though my title is slightly different, these are spiritual wars we're living in. These are spiritual attacks. And when I say attack, it doesn't always have to be aggressive. An attack can be like if you look at warfare, a lot of times they don't come in like boom, 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 boom. It is covert. It is very stealthy. It is very silent. It comes in. It doesn't come in with a bang. So this is an attack spiritually. But these people don't form healthy bonds. And back to what I was about to say, with the technological world, you'll have these commercials come on. With even one that I hold near and dear to my heart, St. Jude's Children's Hospital. These are magnificent entities that seemingly help children that have cancer and different things. But these commercials you'll have, all of them are placating the illnesses that exist. They're force feeding people all of this distress in the world. They're force feeding us, and they're playing on our heartstrings. We'll put an envelope in the mail with $50 in it, but if we randomly run across somebody on the street that doesn't even ask you for anything, laying up under a tree, for whatever reason he's laying under that tree, discombobulated, disheveled, disoriented, impoverished, we won't go through that drive-through that we're already in and get an extra cup of coffee and give it to them. That's what I call random acts of kindness. Those are the things I do now. As before, when I was in the Matrix, it's all about the camaraderie. It's all about a group. It's all about being a part of. I don't have to be a part of a group to do what my heart tells me to do. But everything is so mechanical, and this is what we're living in. The communication as an empath that you try to have and convey with most people, they're not even interested in it. And I'll tell you how they'll try to embellish you or stroke your ego. Oh, how did you get so smart? Hey, how do you know all these things? What they're trying to do is get intel. They're really trying to see what makes you tick, so they can seek to dismantle your reality, poke holes in your facts, poke holes in your truth. They don't really want to get to know how you became so well learned, so well rounded, so balanced. So as an empath, my whole point to this video, before I go get my kid a haircut, you see him right now, boy, woo. And of course, we really don't put a lot of emphasis on trying to stay groomed in this overt way, but grooming is a big part of how you feel. I think it boosts your confidence. It really does. Or your self-esteem, I want to say. And you should have good self-esteem, healthy self-esteem. But Don't get it twisted. These people don't care about what we're talking about. They don't care about our conversation. And the things that we're talking about are so sound. They're so sound and solid. Why would these people even care anyway? They got one leg in and one leg out. Turn yourself around. What's that game? You stick your left foot in, your left foot out. But anyway, there's so much going on in 2023, and you can only imagine 2024 coming up. Narcissists are very desperate. If you see some of the things they're doing out of their desperation, even if there's a shindig or some type of gathering or get-together, it is the most atrocious get-together or put together by some of the most despicable people you want to even see on the face of the earth. I'm not going to say it. Most of them are just obviously a narcissist. And it's so jacked up how it's put together. There's no hygienically conscious approach to when there's food service, when there's different catering things outside and about. And this is not all of them, but the ones that I'm speaking of are the ones that are just so decrepit till you wouldn't dare support, or not support, you wouldn't dare purchase anything. Talk about consuming it other than a bottle of water. Then you would question even that. You would question even that. But the communication that we don't have with these idiots is okay. I just want to remind you guys, if you're feeling awkward or funny in these times, in these moments where you feel like you don't have anyone that really understands you, anyone that you can really communicate with, and you know in and of yourself that you're a fairly decent person, you're a fairly decent human being, you do well by other people, you don't wish harm on anyone, you've been through the ringer with people have done you wrong, why do you have anything to feel bad about? You don't. But in the wiring that we are built, that's built into us from our youth, we believe we should be running guilt trips on ourselves. This is by design to keep us asleep. But now we're waking up. We understand that now our individuality is a priceless thing. Most people running around are not individuals. They're carbon copies. Say that right. They're carbon copies of other people. And they're not even consistent about that. They're taking cues off of this one, taking cues off of that one. I've been in public and you've had, let's say for example, before I close, young girls walking around, teeny boppers, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, under their 20s, and they're wearing all these provocative clothing. All of them look just alike. These crop top with the bottom boob sticking out. You know where I'm going with all of this. But my point is, they're looking around. They're trying to see who's noticing them. So much so, if they're going inside of a building or an establishment, or they're heading somewhere, whereas they have to pay attention to where they're going, they don't even pay attention. So all of a sudden, it's like this 5-car pileup, boom, boom, boom. Oh my God. They bumping into each other. This is what I mean, and I just used that small example. Not taking shots at the young girls per se, but that is an example, which I can give you many. They can't even pay attention to where they're going. They're bumping into the doors. And mind you, they're young, they're forming their adolescence into pre-adult, pre-teen. So these are things you go through as you're growing up. But it's just so bad now, so it makes you wonder, how bad is it going to be next year? But if you're an empath or chosen one, you can't communicate with most people. It's a dead subject. You can't communicate with most people. You spend a lot of time by yourself. No one understands you. And the few people that do understand you in a small way, that appreciate you, that is enough. God understands you. He created you. Seek to know and understand who He made you to be. And He'll show you these monsters, man. He'll show you these monsters, and you will thank God of the fact that you see what you wouldn't have seen before. You'll forever thank God that, wow, that's a breath of fresh air. That's a sigh of relief. I don't have to be understood by these people because they don't understand themselves. Even trying to understand myself on a daily basis, that is a very, very rewarding thing because I love trying to understand who I am as a person. And it makes me be okay with the fact that I don't need the validation of other people. Although I know we need to cohabitate in this world because this is a world where humans have to cohabitate. We need each other from the cradle to the grave. So I understand that part. But to what degree I need other people? Well, that's questionable. Need people as less as you possibly can. And if and when you need them, be humble enough to ask for help. Be mindful of the ones who you allow to help you. Bless.